stand up, but until we are fully away from the dock and we've got all lines off, I need everyone to stay seated. So I will tell you we don't have bow thrusters, so we can't just turn around easily. This boat is 126 years old, so not only would a bow thruster be historically inaccurate, but to put one in would just be wrong. That would involve cutting a hole in the hull. Do that. 126. So what's going to happen here, and I'll try not to let my mic squelch. Jim's going to get almost parallel with this dock. He's going to start moving forward. He's going to get some slack in the side. I'm going to take it off, bring it on board, and then we will be off.
All right, guys.
All right, there we go. Easy peasy.
All right, I got my little views. Huh? Look, guys, I got my view.
I got my
Yes, we got it. Not me. No, the museum. Yeah.
That's a nice one.
This one right here. So, you guys are welcome to move about the vessel at this time. Please remember, no running, no jumping. If you eat anything, you're more than welcome to eat. Please do not throw anything off the boat at all, even if it's organic material. I had a tattletale yell at me for throwing a leaf off the boat last week. So, please don't throw anything off the boat. I have a trash can right back here. Alright, so the boat that you guys are riding on today is 126 years old this year. That means it was built in 1899, and it was built on an island called Crab Island that used to exist about 6 miles southeast of Oriole, Maryland, on the eastern shore. I do say Crab Island used to exist because due to rising sea levels and subsequently bay levels, Crab Island is gone. So this vessel is outlined the island which it was built on. It was built originally as a sailing vessel. If you're wearing a sticker, I know not all of us are, it's this tiny little logo on my vest. Also the one in the second mast would be behind our captain, Captain Jim. Almost as tall as the first, at about 80 feet tall, and again, going back at an angle like this. When they turned her into a boat, they converted her by first removing all of her sails. So they took off her bowsprit and her jib sail. They took out both of her masts, and then they installed this mast here. This is called a working mast. The purpose of this mast is to help haul the oyster cargo on board. There would have been 2 working booms or davits like this attached, and they would use that to haul the oyster cargo on board. This is what's known as a 9-log new hull junk built bug-eye. That 5 tons fast. That means they took 9 pine tree logs and laid them down like this. They fastened them together from their interior using iron pins called drifts. And then they carved the hull out of it like this. We are riding on the original hull right now. It's extremely impressive given the fact that it's an all-wood vessel. And because of that, we have received a National Historic Landmark status. That also makes this the oldest Coast Guard certified passenger carrying vessel in the United States. Pretty cool, right down here in Saltset. She is 64 feet long on deck, 16.5 feet long in the waterline, 17.5 feet wide, and she only has a 4.5-foot draft. Draft is the amount of boat that's under the water. So like this. It's really, really shallow for a 45-ton vessel. The reason bug-eyes were built like that is so they could go over those oyster beds and travel. That's it. So behind us here, this is but originally from the tip of this point, which we'll see shortly, all the way down past these birdhouses, this was the Naval Amphibious Training Base, specifically for the aviation flight. And this base was built to house and train over 20,000 sailors, Marines, and soldiers. However, by the end of the war, they ended up having about 68,000 personnel coming through it. Yes. When we come around this point here, jump to that logo, you can't see it yet. But when we come around this point, we're going to see a statue of a sailor with a pair of binoculars. It's called the On Watch statue. He is green because he's bronze. And he's standing on a brick pedestal, so I'll point him out when we can see him. That statue is dedicated to the gentlemen and women that trained at the Naval Amphibious Training Base, and also the people that subsequently lost their lives in World War II. you're keel stepped, you're buying sailboats ever, you're probably gonna want a keel step boat. That means the mast goes all the way through the deck, all the way down into the keel. If you're going anywhere near the ocean, you want a keel step boat. You guys can see that statue now. It's a little hard to see against the tree, but as we turn, you'll see the brick pedestal here in a second. There you go. Now you can see him. Yep. He's really easy to visit, and I definitely recommend it. That is the very, very, very end of Dowell Road. So you're gonna type Dowell Road in. You're gonna turn past. You're gonna go by the Ruddy Duck on your left, and you're gonna go by Ambery Gardens on your left. You're gonna keep driving. You're gonna keep driving till you think I'm lying to you and you're trespassing. And then you will see a tiny little brown sign that says On Launch Statue ahead, and you'll pop right out of here. Dowell Road. So our main priority, this is just an aside, it's not necessarily part of my narration, but I'm a Y person, I like to know what's going on. So our main priority on the boat is always going to be safety. So if you see me pointing at something and I'm clearly not talking about it, or I'm talking to the captain, that's just because we're communicating. If I ask you to sit down, it's for your safety. And if you wave at another boat and you know they saw you, and they're not like acting. They don't wave back. You tell me their boat name, I will live. I don't mess with that. Sometimes people will see you, alright? I'll do that. But you know they saw you. Just look at me. And then I'll be really petty and get really annoyed. Alright, so real quick also, port is left, starboard is right. So on the port side bow here, this little island, this is called Molly's Leg Island. It's always been here in the center of Back Creek. That's where we are right now.
The island in the middle.
But in 1954, it was hit by a hurricane, so it's just like a little spit of sand. In the 70s, the Army Corps of Engineers stepped in. They built these wooden bulkheads you guys see right now. They did that because they wanted to make this into a bird sanctuary, which it is right now. It's federally protected, so don't get any ideas. However, my favorite thing on Moll's Leg is that Captain Jim and I have both seen groundhogs many times. So they're out there. Groundhogs can in fact swim. I just don't see a groundhog sitting on the edge of the water there
Groundhogs.
and going to see about a land and then jumping in. Yeah.
Look, it's a pub. Look, it's a pub off the
No one
water.
is allowed on that island unless you get permission from the federal government.
Yeah.
Nope, absolutely not. Yep, you get thrown in prison for that. I mean, there's a little dock right there, but again, I do not recommend doing that. Yeah, that'll make you get in an exorbitant amount of trouble. But I've also been told by people that did sleep on the island, it is covered in spider webs because, you know, nothing to dump them. And pit holes. So that just sounds like a bad time to me. Yeah, you can take a boat out here for a lunch. It's not very big, so the weight is here. So Solomon's Island is kind of shaped like this, like a wonky L. Right now, we're here. We're on the inside of the island. This is the land. This is us right here. We're going to go out and around and up and then back. We only have an hour. This white building right here with the metal roof, that is Chesapeake Biological Laboratory. It's the first state-supported marine laboratory on the East Coast. It was closed in 1923. And they have an extension from the University of Maryland, which is where a lot of these buildings out here are. Not all of them, but most of them. Once you pass the Elm and their dock, you'll be entering the Patuxent River. We're going to exit Solomon's Harbor, where we are right now. The Patuxent River. Solomon's Harbor. This is one of the longest rivers in North America. It's 110 miles long. And it starts, like I said, 110 miles away, up there in Mount Airy, and I will show you when it ends so we get to the place called the mountain. You guys see They share the parenting duty of raising the young clearly equally. Boy osprey will sit on the eggs and feed babies just as much as the lady osprey. Slow down. We'll let him go today. 6 months. For anyone over 17 feet. So we're now in the Patuxent River. Like I said, it's one of the longest rivers in North America, and it is the longest river entirely within our state. Starts up there, ends right there in between those 2 points. So if we were to go that way, we're not going to today, we would be in Chesapeake Bay. The point on the left is around the horn. You guys waited under that lighthouse to board the vessel. That's where it came from. That point right there. And you can see very, very far away, there's a red marker. I know technically it's orange. In the boat world, that's red. That is where the lighthouse was, where that red marker is.
It's going to be raining.
Yeah.
Adjacent to it, we have Cedar Point, and those 2 points make up the entrance to the Patuxent River. Or the exit, or the mouth, whatever you can call it. All right, okay, we get around. Woo, we're going slowly. So if you guys turn your attention back to the island right here, remember I said it's shaped like a monkey up their land and the farm next to it won't give up their land. I'm fine with that. I think they can keep their farm. I think the government should give us a little bit of land. Because then they can't just knock it down and then build a new bridge really quickly. You need the bridge, so they have to, they've tried. It's fine. It'll be all right. We used to have a ferry. Yeah, we don't have one anymore. But the ferry used to leave from the Chesapeake Biological Laboratory and drive along the bridge on that side. They stopped doing the 50s because we were hitting the bridge. That is much easier. is.
Oh, okay.
And you'll be looking across about 500 feet of water to that church. That church is the most building on the entire island. All of this land between the church and that little bit of beach is man-made, filled-in land. So this is a true island. It still is a true island, but it used to be more of an island. Now, it's still an island. If you look at the flagpole, look down and to the left. It's kind of hard to see because the shade is over there. You guys will see where there's a gap in the rocks. That's called the tide box. It does function as a bridge, but that's not its primary function. Its primary function is to allow the water to pass through on either side so that the island doesn't flood. So you are not on Solomon's Island until you pass over the tide box, or I like to say it's easier to say it this way, until you pass that flagpole. So everything from the flagpole to the right is the original, is not the original, is Solomon's Island. And then if you're with me, because I'm a stickler, you're not on the island until we pass the Methodist Church for the mission. All of that is man-made, filled-in land, so you can get down to the island easier. But we couldn't fill it all the way in, because then the island would flood. And maybe also we wanted to stay in it. I'm not in charge there. No, I will tell you. Now that's a big so I'll get to it in just a second. Yeah, I've got to get my thoughts straight so I don't mess it up. So, once you pass the flagpole, you are on Solomon's Island. In between the flagpole and the base of the bridge, this is another town. Well, now it's not. All of this, including Dowell, has now been incorporated, I don't understand, into the township of Solomon. Not Solomon's Island, Solomon. So that is all that is now. However, these are three little towns Yeah, that's also the Catholic Church. The needle stick in the sky. Yeah, that's Catholic Church, and then they have. I think that's another. No, that one. Yes, it is. Yeah, but that one is in Johnstown, so it's shaped like imagine it's shaped like this. This is the island, and then Johnstown sticks out like that. So we can't see it from here, but if you can, it goes all the way up. Yeah, it's called the narrow. It's very narrow there. Yeah, so I actually know this one.
But they'll slow down from there. No leading.
But the island, that little group of all of
Stay right here.
if you look out at the corner where I think, you make sense. But here, east of, yeah, do this one now. Yeah, we're gonna you guys pull it up on the Google Maps. Most of my tour probably put some stuff out on our way back. I'm gonna put these light jackets away and if I see some water, and then I'll come back out. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. If you'd like me to take pictures, I will. Keep in mind, I'm not a photographer. I just do my best. I'm very
Huh? Yeah, it's cool. We gotta find more. There's a lot of cruises in Delaware. So, I'm not sure where else. Not check it out.
This is going to McDonald's.
Definitely. I'll do shoulder with the pole. Give you some balance. Leah, you want to stand? Come on, Leah. The sun, I see. Yeah, it's rough. Walk right here. Keep your hand. Do the balance. You like it, right? Guys, I want to take a picture with you guys. Can you stand next to each other? Can I take a picture with you guys? Can I take a picture with you guys? Come on, Mateo. Come on, Leah. Next to mom. No, right there. Stand right there. Stand next to mom. Come on. Look, Mateo. Try to get there. Leah. Leah, go in. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Hey, we gotta get a boat picture. Yeah, like this. When it got wavy, I was like, it's like walking across the train. You know, you get to use this chase like that. I put a photo. Yeah, I put low. Like this. There you go.
How much percent? It slows it down.
Yeah.
How much percent?
It's 18%. I think we'll be enough.
No.
We'll be enough. Nice, right? Oh, where's it coming down this way? Huh? I don't know. Maybe when they're docking, yes. Ah, the ship. Oh yeah, we're good. Not windy all of a sudden, right? My drink's inside.
My hat will fly away.
Don't let it fly.
My hat will fly away.
Yeah, go. I don't want it, so go on and drink it. Oh, my bad. Go ahead. This was so worth it, huh? You know? Oh, here we go. Guys, sit down. Be careful, okay? Yeah.
there?
Just two. The battery was down.
Oh no, oh, it's got battery.
That scare you guys? So you jumped? Sit down, Nicole. We're standing over, right? I think we should start taking photos. Because the sun will bother you later. It's just floating. We're here.